What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. Today's video we're going to be welding up and installing these DIY rock sliders from XO Fab, so let's get started. So this is the basic setup, it's not where it's going to go. This is the 80-inch XO Fab DIY rock slider kit. It comes with everything that you see here. These frame tie-in plates were extra, but you're definitely going to want those because these are going to weld to the frame or bolt to the frame. So I took like 10 minutes and actually figured out exactly how I wanted these because I need to know on these main pieces where I need to grind for the welding. So what I ended up doing is I didn't like this one too far out, so I'm starting with 1 foot right here, and then that makes this gusset look really nice because if I move it out here and make everything even all the way out across, it makes this gusset look weird, and this big hole right here, I didn't really like it. So this ended up being 1 foot, and then the gap in between here is 18.66 split 3 ways across here, and then 1 foot to this first one right here. So now that I know and have everything marked on this where I need to grind, now I can go ahead and grind all this down and make sure I save the measurements that I have and then replicate it on the passenger side as well. We got this main one all tacked together. One thing that I had to do, which is kind of disappointing, is these were too tall and I wasn't able to get them to seat on both sides. Like there's a huge gap right here. So I ended up having to cut about this much, just a little bit off of one side of all of these, which sucks. What I'm gonna do now is I'm going to fully weld this guy right here and then weld in these gussets here. The next step is getting the rock sliders set up how you want them. I like using this laser here. It works great and comes in handy. I definitely recommend getting one. It helps get things lined up properly. I prefer the look of about 10 degrees of angle on my bars. I want them as close to the body as I can while not being too close. I then start making measurements to the frame so I know how long to cut my connecting pieces. Then I mark on the frame where my tie-in pieces are going to be and then clean up the frame for welding. It's been a few hours of cutting, grinding, and whatnot, prepping all of this and the frame. This Harbor Freight surface reconditioning tool really came in handy on the frame side here, but there was a few spots I had to, like right here, I had to cut this bracket off. That took a while. All of our areas prepped and ready for welding. And you see right here, I've marked these 1, 2, 3, and 4, and I went ahead and wrote down the measurements so I can copy them on the passenger side just in case I need to replicate them. We got our tie-in brackets all cleaned up and ready to go, and man, I didn't clean these up. So I still gotta clean all the welding surfaces of these up real quick, and then we will double check that all of this is where I want it to be because I was underneath here banging around. Hopefully I didn't move it. We'll just throw the laser on it and double check just to make sure. Now before you go welding on the frame, make sure you disconnect the battery, and I went ahead and disconnected the ECU because I don't want to fry anything inside of this. And then we're going to go ahead and repeat the exact same process for the passenger side. I already have all my measurements and I've done it once before, so it's definitely going to take way less time than this driver's side. So many hours and actually days later, I got this thing wrapped up, all painted up. I think it looks really good. I'm happy with the welds, happy with the way it looks, happy with the way everything turned out. I'm excited to get this thing out on the trail and start smashing it on some rocks. Now the reason I think this is the perfect beginner fabricator project, it does require cutting, grinding, welding, measuring, and determining and making decisions on where you want to mount things. But it doesn't require a ton of special tools like a tube bender, which is really expensive to get a real mandrel tube bender, and to get a tube notcher, and to get experience in using all those tools. I've used all of those, and it's not super easy. You don't just come out of the box and everything works out great. You know how to use it. To make the perfect cuts and to make the perfect bends, it takes experience and time, and you got to mess around with it, play with it, and eventually you get it right. So all of that hard stuff is done for you. There is a ton of welding. I think I would guess I have at least 5 hours of welding on this. So if you're looking to get seat time with the welder, then this is the project for you. My welds are definitely not professional welds by any means, and I'm not a professional welder at all, but as you get a lot more practice, you get a lot more time with your welder that you have, you start turning in to some pretty decent welds, and it's hit and miss with me. Sometimes I'm super happy with the weld, and sometimes it just doesn't really go as planned, and I have to grind it down and redo it. It's just the way it is. Now let's talk about the price and this kit real quick. So this kit is $289.95, and we're talking 1 3/4 120 wall DOM. So I bought a 20-foot stick of 1 3/4 120 wall DOM, and it's about $150, $160 for 20 feet. So this kit for the 80-inch has 36 feet total of 1 3/4 120 wall DOM. When we're talking cost, obviously this is an amazing deal. I don't have to have the special tools to do it. It's all done, pre-cut, pre-done for me. All I got to do is just figure out how to mount it on my particular project and weld it all together and make it work. So with those tie-in plates and everything, which were $44.95, and tax and all that stuff, it's $368.39 for the whole kit with all the tie-in brackets and everything. The amount of time that it would take me to get the bends right, get the notches right, to notch out, we're talking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 notches per on this thing. So we're talking 20 notches to get those all perfect and get them right, cut everything to the length and everything. I would just spend not even that much extra money, just a little bit of extra money to get the prefab the way this is right here, instead of buying the raw tube and then making it all yourself. Okay guys, that's gonna do it for this video. We have our parts now. Barnes 4-wheel drive. We finally got our parts. I just had this one sitting here because I've been mocking up some suspension stuff. We got our Barnes 4-wheel drive parts. We're going to be mocking up suspension, building 3 links. Things are going to start actually moving on this, getting the wheels and tires mounted, getting everything set up, and it's going to start to look like something real quick. So stay tuned, subscribe if you're not already, and if you want to follow me on social media, I am at MuddyBeards4x4. Got a website, shirt stickers, stuff like that, Amazon store. All of our discount codes for all of our sponsors are in the description and on our website. Links are all in there. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.